All right, let's dive right in. We're talking about a massive geopolitical showdown that could totally shake up your investments. And believe it or not, it all comes down to a giant sheet of ice way up near the North Pole. $3 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the price tag on just one mineral project that's right at the heart of this huge global power struggle.
And this isn't just some political posturing. No, we're talking about a situation where military force is literally on the table to get a hold of these resources. And the fallout? Well, it could go one of two ways. Either the tech you love and invest in gets a whole lot cheaper, or the entire market just melts down.
So here is my promise to you. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and you'll see exactly how this crazy standoff in the Arctic connects directly to your portfolio, the price of that EV you've been eyeing, and yeah, even that crushing mountain of student debt. Okay, so let's get into it. What's really at stake in this $3 billion gambit? I mean, why are the world's biggest players drawing lines in the snow over this? Well, it all boils down to one huge problem, especially if you're betting on green tech. You know why that dream of owning a Tesla or maybe starting a little solar side hustle feels so ridiculously expensive? A huge part of it is this one major supply chain stranglehold. I mean, just look at this chart. It's totally lopsided. China processes a whopping 80% of the world's rare earth elements. And these aren't just some random materials. They're the secret sauce in everything from EV motors and wind turbines to the very phone you might be holding right now.
Look, this isn't just being a market leader. Let's call it what it is. It's a monopoly. And that monopoly, it basically acts like a hidden tax. So every single time you invest in green tech or buy a new gadget, part of that cost is secretly being dictated by this one weak link in the supply chain. It drives up prices and it adds a ton of risk to your portfolio.
And let's be real, that extra cost hits hard, especially when the financial pressure is already through the roof. I'm talking about $1.7 trillion. That's just US student loan debt.
So here's the deal. When you're already juggling that insane student debt, rent that shot past $2,000 a month, and a salary that feels like it's stuck in 2010, every single extra cost is a body blow. And relying on this fragile, foreign-controlled supply chain, it probably gives you some serious flashbacks to 2008, right? And guess what? This problem isn't just growing, it is absolutely exploding. The market's on track to hit $10 billion really soon. But here's the kicker. Demand is projected to quadruple by 2040. The stakes here are just getting higher and higher. So where on earth can we turn to break this monopoly? Well, enter Greenland. We're talking about a potential Arctic treasure chest that could completely change the game. Get this. The island is estimated to be sitting on 1.5 million metric tons of rare earth oxides. To put that in perspective, that's a stash big enough to rival all the known reserves in the US and pose a serious challenge to China's chokehold on the market. And right at the center of all this is one specific project that shows you just how massive this opportunity is. It's called the Tanbreez project. Okay, you're looking at a single mine with a $3 billion valuation, 45 million tons of resources, and a mind-blowing 180% projected internal rate of return. This is the jackpot everyone is fighting for. And that fight, it's heating up fast. You know, what started out as a kind of weird headline back in 2019 about buying Greenland has now turned into some serious geopolitical chess. We're talking treaties, bids for control, and now, yeah, even threats of military action. And it's all happening as these projects get closer and closer to pumping out huge amounts of material.
Okay, hang on. Here's where it gets really interesting, because there's a huge catch in this whole story, and it's the one thing that most people completely miss. So on the surface, it seems pretty simple, right? Greenland has the minerals, the West desperately needs them, so boom, problem solved, we break China's monopoly. Or do we?
Okay, so the big promise is that Greenland is the magic bullet for the supply chain. But the reality, well, it's a lot more complicated. Think of it this way. Even if you find a massive treasure chest full of gold, what good is it if someone else owns the only key? And right now, when it comes to processing these minerals, China holds all the keys. It's like discovering a giant oil field, but having absolutely no refineries to turn it into gasoline. You're stuck.
So with all this complexity, all this volatility, what do you actually do? How do you position your portfolio to navigate this? Well, here is a clear 4-step playbook you can consider.
All right, step 1, scan your portfolio right now. If you've got less than, say, 5% exposure to rare earth elements, you could be missing out on a lot of the upside. Step 2, think about boosting that allocation up to around 10%, maybe through a diversified ETF. Step 3, to diversify a bit more, you could add some specific US miners to the mix. That helps hedge against any China-specific drama. And finally, step 4, have a backup plan. If all this geopolitical tension makes the market go haywire, I'm talking VIX hitting 20, be ready to hedge with a classic safe haven like gold.
So when you put it all together, your strategic allocation could look something like this. You keep your main holdings, of course, but you carve out this dedicated slice to tap into this very specific, very massive global story as it unfolds.
And really, that brings us to the most important takeaway of all. In a world where one geopolitical headline can absolutely tank your portfolio overnight, trying to pick a winner between the US and China, that's a sucker's bet. The real win isn't picking a side, it's positioning yourself to profit from the chaos.
Now, of course, we have to say it. This is a really volatile and unpredictable market. So while these are some interesting ideas to get you thinking, it is absolutely crucial that you do your own homework and deep research before you make any decisions with your own money.